Welcome back, sci-fi fans, the Star Wars fans. It's Coruscant Radio Underground. I'm here tonight with special guests Ro and Nicole.
Did you just call me special?
Special, very special.
I'm wearing your favorite guy on my shirt, Ro.
Excellent. Very nice. Love it.
He's near my heart.
Yes. Love it. Thank you for that.
Well, all right. Well, we're here to talk about the Ahsoka finale. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat real quick. I got DJ over here.
Oh, DJ.
Megan, Isaac. Someone beat Megan to the chat tonight. I'm impressed.
Very nice.
Isaac beat Megan to the chat. Andrew is in here, not me.
We were already all hanging out together beforehand.
Yeah, so. Y'all were all watching it together, and then y'all just migrated over here. Ubaldo is in the room. Got a good crowd in here to kick it off. So let's see. Hopefully everyone in there can hear me. No one has said anything. Well, yeah, no. DJ said he's almost special. So I'm assuming they can in fact hear us.
Yeah.
Andrew says he's only Andrew number 2, not special. So let's just so again,
Ubaldo's here.
Yeah,
it's a party.
It's a party. So just to really quick recap for anyone who might be tuning in for the first time, this is all spoilers. This is our first reactions to the show. We decided on night 1, no sense in trying to do this and try to hide the spoilers. So if you hadn't watched it yet, go back and watch it and then come back. And this will be our quick thoughts. Won't know a full episode. We did get a little long last week, but there was a lot to talk about. And but everybody here will has a Ro, you are doing a finale episode Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody here's got a finale episode coming up this week. Yep. Nicole is going to be on Sunday. Yep. And we'll give some info on that out at the end of the show. But
and we're all part of the Red 5 Network. Check your local listings. May the force be with you.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, let's go around the room. Quick thoughts, Spencer. Quick thoughts. Yeah. It sometimes I can't help it.
Yeah, no,
we can't help it, Spencer.
We got a lot to say. We'll try not to waste all of our takes, but yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we're going to talk about that, Isaac, here in a minute. But real quick, let's run around the room. Nicole, what were your first thoughts on the episode?
I think
while Ro runs around the room.
I'm pretty sure I was losing my mind the whole time. Most of the time, I was losing my mind. I was so excited. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Definitely my favorite Star Wars series overall, I think now. Officially. I was waiting.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. There's a lot I really, really like about this episode. I like a lot of what they led into for whatever comes next. Ro, what about you?
To me, it was the weakest episode of the series. I give it a 3 out of 10. And I left the episode scratching my head, saying to myself, what the hell? Nice. Thanks.
I never get to use those.
He just needs a big hug, some love from Garza Fwip. Let's be honest. Come on.
Oh, look at Andrew. Filler. I understand the concept of filler, but I don't use that word filler a lot because, even filler episodes seem to have something of worth. I would have to say that this series could have worked in 4 episodes. I think they stretched a lot knowing that what we know. Oh. I think, sorry, I'm taking over the broadcast here. I think, see, DJ and I are on the same page. I think
Team Sith.
I think they I think there was this episode alone. There were a lot of very convenient plot points that made it so watered down to me that it was like, come on already. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Specifically, the Star Destroyer was ready to, bust out of there. and they moved slowly to make it, to make it so slow that the rest of the team could catch up and board the Star Destroyer. It's like, come on already.
Only one.
Yeah, but it's like there was a lot of stuff in there that is like too convenient. I think if it was an animated show and we had that mentality of it being a cartoon, it probably, I mean, it played to me like an animated episode, but everything was just like neatly put
I
in
just
there.
felt like I do feel like a lot of things happened neatly, but I felt like the whole season got us there. I didn't feel like it was that convenient as much as our characters were on this path the whole time to get where they got.
But do you think it needed 8 episodes? Couldn't this same story been told in 4?
No,
Maybe
I
6.
want it all.
But less than 8.
Less than 8, but I mean, I don't think
I
there's.
think there were like 2 or 3 episodes that were like the same thing except stretched out, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's get on with it.
I don't know. I don't think there's that much wasted space in this series. I don't feel like there was ever a point where an episode didn't have. I mean, some episodes are better than others, but I never felt like there were episodes that didn't move the story forward.
Well, it moved the story forward, but at a snail's pace. That was that was the choice of the writer, obviously, but when it comes to a streaming show, obviously they want eyes on the streaming platform, but 8 episodes are going to give you more eyes than 3, obviously, but I don't know. I didn't. To me, this was the weakest episode of all of them.
I will put this up here before I lose it in the chat. Andrew says, could this be setting up Mando season 4? And we did talk a little about that on our full review. And I said, no, I don't think so when you mentioned that this weekend. But now, and we've also talked about, is there going to be an Ahsoka season 2 before Filoni's movie? And I said, maybe, but I kind of felt like we were going to leave off in a place where we didn't need another season.
Wait.
But now I'm fully on board that there will be an Ahsoka season 2.
But there
wait until tomorrow when everybody has gotten a chance to see it. You'll see how, and obviously I think Rosario Dawson said if fans like the show, we'll get to do it again. I just don't. I think it's going to be bad.
I think that's an actor's point of view on everything. If the fans like it, we'll do another one. But Lucasfilm's not necessarily operating in that capacity. Let's be honest.
But Ewan McGregor said the same thing, and he'd love to do a second season. But Lucasfilm says, "Yeah, we're not doing a second season." I don't think there's going to be a second season. I think they were stretching because they really didn't think that Ahsoka was going to be 1 or 2 seasons and then the movie. I think now, I think the ratings were not what they expected. And I think now there will be no second season for sure, but they will probably get to do their film to kind of wrap things up. I don't think there's going to be a second season of the show.
Guess we'll see. We'll see what they decide.
Overall, the reactions to it have been, if you leave Twitter, the reactions to it have been pretty strong. So I don't know. I know lots of the 501st guys, the Rebel Legions, those guys are all loving this show.
Well, the Stormtroopers were amazing. That's one of the aspects. I mean, I love watching Stormtroopers. The Death Troopers were pretty cool.
Yeah.
I joked on Twitter that I was rooting for those 2 Death Troopers because they almost killed Sabine and Ezra. They felt like a real threat. They were pretty good.
See, I actually completely disagree with this take, DJ, only because Andor gave me 5 really good episodes. I still feel like this gave me 8.
Yeah, agreed.
It's still better than Mando season 3, but no, yeah. I mean, for me, Andor is always going to be up on top.
But Andor's
it's well written.
I have trouble comparing the two, to be frank.
Yeah,
they're different. They're doing totally different things, and I have a hard time comparing them.
Yeah, but you can compare an apple and an orange. They're both fruit. They might be different, but you can still make comparisons.
Yeah,
I mean, Star Wars media is the same thing.
I'm just going to stick with my gut that this completely set up a second season of TV. It's what they set
Yeah.
up with Ahsoka isn't going to fly on the big screen. I'm just going to be honest about that because it's going to be, I think, sort of akin to what George was planning on doing with a sequel trilogy, and it's going to be pretty trippy and fantastical. We had some stuff at the end of this episode between the big reveal of Anakin's Force Ghost at the end, the
Morai.
statue, Morai, the
Oh my God, Morai.
the statue of the father and the son,
I know.
and the daughter's missing from that statue. But Morai's there, so I think we're going on a pretty trippy adventure in whatever's next. I mean,
and Shin. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lots of stuff.
So I think they opened up a lot of doors, and I just don't see them being willing to take a chance on telling that story for a theatrical release. I think theatrical releases are still going to be in the vein. This season would have made a better theatrical release than what I think they would be doing with a season 2.
And why do you think that? Because of the cost involved of movies versus TV?
No, I just think that this was, if they had shortened this up, I think this could have made a really nice film.
No, I mean in the future, like a second season versus a movie to recap to
because
cap the season.
Because no matter how many Star Wars fans you've got out there, I don't think I think that when you do things that are out there on the fringe, like when you do things, I mean, one of the most divisive arcs of Rebels out there, even among Rebels fans, is Mortis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm basically thinking we're going Mortis trippy in whatever's coming next for Ahsoka, and I think that's risky to put on the big screen. Because I think that there are a lot of Star Wars fans that are just not down for that much fantasy in their Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy is a lot harder than science fiction as far as, bringing in the masses. Fantasy's always struggled on the big screen, with the exceptions of Lord of the Rings.
That is an interesting take. I don't know where to go on that one, because I think if with any story, I think if it's written well enough, I think it could work. But I do agree with you that the Star Wars fans have already demonstrated a I don't know, I want to say lack of faith, or lack of imagination, lack of faith perhaps in their own ability to open their minds to something as trippy as what you're saying.
Well, and you leave a lot of people when you go for something that out there, even if they set it up well, which I think they're doing. I think that the way they're setting up these mystical elements, you don't necessarily, people feel like they need Rebels, but I don't really feel like they've given us information that was like, oh, you can't possibly understand what's happening if you didn't watch Rebels. I feel like he did a really good job of telling us just enough to understand what's happening. And I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't think that the intention for the movie that they've discussed is the continuation of Ahsoka's story. I think it's the Heir to the Empire story, or at least a new variation on that. Oh, I think we have to have a story somewhere to get Ahsoka and Sabine home, or at least Sabine. I'm not sure now Ahsoka's going home. I think we're setting up some stuff with the ones, the father, the son, the daughter,
Yep.
that maybe she doesn't leave this place.
And I'm gonna go back to something you said earlier, Andrew, regarding thinking that they did a good job explaining some stuff from Rebels. I was, at the beginning of the series, I was afraid that there was going to be a lot of exposition, a lot of explanation to casual fans that never saw the Rebels show. But I too think that they did a really good job of kind of presenting, each little plot point. I mean, the first episode they mentioned Ezra, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna go there. So they didn't shy away from some of the elements that were present in the Rebels show. I do think they did a good job, but this last episode, I think even for somebody that that saw Rebels, it was a little too esoteric, or I don't know, weak in some of the representations of the concepts that you talked about. Maybe on a second viewing, which I usually do right before our show, to get a better feel of it. But yeah, it was DJ and I talked about this in the Discord.
Yeah.
It's just a little weak.
Yeah. See, I mean, I'm not going to dismiss anybody's thoughts on it here. I see poorly written, stretched too thin, too many loose threads and unexplained coincidences. And that is polar opposite of my takeaway.
Right. I think it's because we each all have our own perspective, and that's just how it goes,
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
And I mean, I'll be honest, there are things about this that were more like reading a story than watching a story at times. I think I personally enjoy that, but I can see not everybody enjoying that in the way that we stretch it out. But I mean, there was not one episode of this show, and I gauge a lot of things by my kids' reactions. There was not one episode of this show that when it went to black at the end of the episode, that they didn't jump up off the sofa and go, why is it over? Like, my 9-year-old, my 12-year-old, my 14-year-old never checked out on me at any point during this show. So, I don't know. I'm having trouble with the stretch too thin. I didn't get it. I just thought there were a lot of really, really important character moments. It's slow action wise at times, but big character moments.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about that. Obviously, my love for Andor, and that was a really slow burn, and there were character moments and things that happened in that. But
Andor was so slow, I almost gave up on it.
Right.
In fact, I got online. I don't usually get online and throw a hissy fit right after an episode, but I stayed up till 2:00 to watch one of those episodes, and I was just ready to be done with it. So yeah, I mean, you can give me the last 5 episodes of Andor, and I love it. I think it's fantastic Star Wars. Prior to that, it is worse than Boba Fett, because Boba Fett was at least giving me something. It might not have been great, but it was giving me something.
How's Ahsoka?
So Nicole, you've been, me and Ro have been going back and forth. I want to hear your thoughts. What did you like? What did you not like?
Oh my gosh, what did I like? I loved at the beginning with Morgan Elsbeth when she was becoming a witch. That was incredible. Couldn't believe it. There was various moments. I love the various battles, the duels and things. Although I still feel like Sabine is still more Mandalorian than she is a Jedi. I wish they would just let her just be Mandalorian and let her be a badass.
Yeah, because even when they were fighting, I mean, she was fighting with the lightsaber, and she wasn't doing any harm. And Ahsoka's like, use the blasters, and it's like, it's
let her just accept who she is and move on. So, but at the same time, it's like at some point she did start using the Force a little bit, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe she's in maybe because she's older, that she's, because remember, she's not a youngling, and she's not a Padawan, she's, yeah, I don't know. Hi, you going to come talk to us? Oh, and my cats absolutely loved the witches.
What will you do about recasting Ray Stevenson?
I've seen some other accounts that have suggested certain actors.
I don't know if they got Gerard Butler money, but Gerard Butler would be a perfect choice.
Yeah. Somebody did a side by side, and they were very very similar, especially with the facial hair.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I think that's just one of those things. I'm just going to let time tell. I'm not trying
And I
to let
also think,
be over.
sometimes you don't necessarily have to have A-lister money when the offering is, hey, you want to be in a Star Wars.
Right.
That's true.
Like, so I think he's a good choice. There's a couple of other names I've seen thrown around out there, but
Lizzo.
wow.
I want to be on Star Wars.
Let's see. What else, Nicole? Like, what were y'all's favorite scenes in the episode? I mean, like what scenes?
The witches, the duel between her and Ahsoka. Oh my God, when Ahsoka took her out, finally, that was awesome. That was awesome. I liked that. I definitely liked the various things.
I feel the fighting is too structured. I think the one fight that I really enjoyed last week was Baylan and Ahsoka, because Baylan seems to have this this strength, this rage that seems to be using. But this these lightsaber battles are not impressing me at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having just completely different opinions on that. I'm really liking the more samurai-esque sword fights. I thought the Ahsoka Morgan Elsbeth duel was very, very well done.
I'm gonna miss actually having Morgan Elsbeth though, because I think I really liked her as a villain. And she does bring, and she comes from a natural line of people who does samurai. So like, and of course that was awesome because that actress, I'm trying to remember her name at the moment. Of course was what's his name's, Anyways,
imagine Lizzo with a lightsaber fighting.
Oh no, come on, no.
Yes.
Don't ruin this.
Somebody tag her.
No.
We'll get somebody to do some Photoshop.
You have a lightsaber at home, but not in the movie. No.
What else? Like what?
Lizzo for Baylan. No, I like that hashtag. What Pandora's box did I open?
Oh,
I don't know, but if you don't use that in your marketing for Saturday, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah. Speaking of, it was interesting. So I just knew it when Ezra got to the thing, and I'm like, he's going to end up taking over that stormtrooper's suit. And sure enough, when he landed, in the party that I was watching it with, I had said, they're like, "Ooh, who's there?" And I'm like, "It's the jeans guy." And then I'll start laughing. Yeah. And I said, "Well, because that's what Cam Ray would say. It's the jeans guy, finally again." But I'm like, it's Ezra. I just knew it was Ezra. I just had a feeling. So,
there's a lot of stuff I really enjoyed. I know. I mean, it lines up. It's very linear, and I can see where that could feel. Make it feel to people like, some of it's lining up too conveniently. So I won't dismiss that thought. But I like the character moments. I know people are going to be, the biggest fit throwing about this is going to be Sabine using the Force.
Right.
But we know that Sabine has been on the brink of unlocking something internally for a while. And I'm still going to fully contend that this has been Dave Filoni's intention since at least the last couple of seasons of Rebels. I think that he was always leading us here. I still don't think she's just like gearing up to be the most powerful Jedi ever, because I don't think that needs to be her story.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Spencer. You've really done it.
Oh no, Spencer. I don't know. Were there parts of the episode you did like, Ro?
Yeah, anything with the stormtroopers, like I said. I mean, you see I'm a dark side guy. But I don't know. Like I said, I think everything was just very conveniently laid out. Somebody somebody mentioned that, and I think it was more an attack on me when I said that I gave it a 3 out of 10
Oh no,
stars. But on Twitter,
that was definitely meant as an attack on you. I saw that.
yeah, it was like, did you give The Empire Strikes Back a 3 out of 10 because it was a cliffhanger? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But
is that why I gave it a 3 out of 10? Because this was a cliffhanger? No, I expected it to be a cliffhanger.
yeah, but I do agree with this. It's it's got a lot of those vibes. I mean, obviously, like, Empire Strikes Back is a really high benchmark. I don't think this is like, I'm not ready to go, this is the Empire Strikes Back of Star Wars television, but it's definitely giving off those vibes. And I think that's what they went for. I mean, Sabine has some really, really big moments. We finally get a note about what got in between her and Ahsoka. The Ahsoka's actually scared of what she's going to become if she's able to achieve any level of ability and power.
That sounds familiar.
And so then you get to ask the question of, is that Sabine? I think that it's Sabine is Sabine's a Mandalorian. Sabine's not above just going after somebody that's hurt people she loves. And then Ahsoka's internalizing a lot of stuff and projecting a lot of stuff from her relationship with Anakin. So I really like that. I'm surprised we saw Sabine use the Force as much as she did there at the end. But I mean, we haven't seen 3 people wielding lightsabers fight together in live action in a really long time. That alone for me was a big high point to this episode. Ezra building his new lightsaber and using
why didn't like, everybody got down people's throats when last week when people asked on Twitter, why didn't Ezra take the lightsaber? And everybody's like, well, he's a more informed Jedi. He doesn't need this weapon. And then all of a sudden he's just making a lightsaber. It's like, so.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that on our show Saturday evening. And that's actually not where we came down on it. One, lightsabers aren't just something you just pick up and fight with. Like, they are personal items. And I think a large part of that is he doesn't feel like that's his saber to wield anymore, which I think is now, I feel like they confirmed that in the fact that he goes straight in and builds a new saber. And one to not just a new saber, he builds one to honor Kanan. So I don't think it was ever as much about, I don't need it. It was just Ezra off the cuff, joking through a serious situation in the fight. And he didn't feel like that was his lightsaber to wield. He felt like it was fully Sabine's at that point.
So Megan's got a question. Where did Ezra get the new crystal? Did he keep it from Kanan's, or where did that come from? And I also have another question that is, it's, when I watch these shows, I try to, and maybe it's my fault, but I try to apply a little bit of narrative logic to things. The Book of Boba Fett failed me miserably with that way of thinking. But didn't Sabine leave her helmet on the forest in the known galaxy, and all of a sudden she has it here?
Okay, Huyang had her helmet when he's standing on the cliff, threading over them being lost.
He had her.
And so he had the helmet. That's why she hasn't had it until
they got there.
Until now.
Gotcha.
Oh, I agree with Jedi Chicago. Yeah.
That's possible as well, that he thought Sabine. I don't think it was that he was like, oh, I'm some great Jedi master that doesn't need a saber now. It's not. Again, lightsabers are very personal, attached, items that have a connection to the person that wields them, and he might have just felt, I like that explanation as well. As far as the Kyber crystal, I mean, maybe it's Kanan's. It's blue. I like that explanation.
Possible.
I like the explanation that maybe he kept Kanan's crystal. It's also just possible that at this point, with so many dead Jedi around, that Hu Yang's collection now contains a number of kyber crystals. So, I mean, that's what he was the instructor on how to build lightsabers. He's got all the parts. So maybe he's got crystals in his possession. I don't know. I kind of wish they would have showed us that, but they didn't. If it's now, they might be saving it, because if it is indeed Kanan's crystal, Ezra also does not know that Jason exists. So it may be that we find out later that that's Filoni likes to leave Easter eggs like that, little things that seem meaningless, and then 8 episodes later or 2 seasons later, he goes, "Oh, by the way." Filoni almost does that too much, but he's good. I mean, a lot of things that you watch a Filoni episode of animation go, "Well, that was filler." And then 2 seasons later, it becomes very important.
Yeah.
So he doesn't waste a lot of stuff. So if he didn't tell us now where the crystal came from, maybe there's a reason.
You had said something that I wanted to touch on. You said, I wish they had shown us that or explained it more regarding the crystal. But I feel like Star Wars lately has been doing a lot of that, of showing us something that doesn't pay off, almost like a reverse Chekhov's gun, if you know the literary concept of that. And they did a lot of that in season 3 of Mando. I think that's one of the biggest reasons I think that fans are like, there's no payoff. There seems to be no payoff in some of these stories. Or it's kind of a little bit of a bait and switch. And by that, I mean, take a look at the Book of Boba Fett series. That was a complete bait and switch, which to me garnered no payoff for why people were tuned in to begin with. A little bit, I'll say the same thing about Kenobi. But I don't know. I think that's for me one of the biggest reasons that I'm very lackluster on Star Wars on the small screen, because it doesn't offer me a sense of resolution. And I understand, because obviously I've seen the animated shows, that Filoni's writing style, he'll pepper some stuff in, and then we'll get to see some of that. But I don't know if this is taking too long, if I'm caring less, am I becoming more cynical? I don't know.
What about you? What are your thoughts on that, Nicole? I mean,
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, do y'all feel
my brain's still on Ahsoka? My brain's not in other lands like Book of Boba Fett right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What did y'all think? Like, I really got.
I'm sorry.
I just felt like Filoni delved into all of the big fantasy epics. And a lot of it showed up in this last. Somebody mentioned it at the top of the show in the chat, and I will never find that. There was, I mean, even the title was a Narnia reference.
Yes, that was me. That was me to DJ.
Was that you?
Diggory, because I called him Diggory. That's one of our nicknames, and that's a Narnia reference.
Yeah.
And I literally, when it came on, Spencer and Megan and Isaac can all 3 attest to this. I'm like, oh, he went C.S. Lewis, not Tolkien this time. And I did. I think I seriously lost my
Although we
mind.
turned around and got very Tolkien at the end with Bailey.
Yeah. But then we were trying to go back, and we were all trying to go, okay, who's the Jedi? Which one was he talking about? Who was the witch? And then obviously the warlock is Thrawn, so we were trying to
was it warlock or warlord?
Warlord.
Okay, Warlord, yeah. Sorry. Was Thrawn. So that was an easy one, but the witch was like, okay, I'm assuming it was Morgan Elsbeth. And then it's like the Jedi, well, maybe Ahsoka. But then at the same time, I kind of thought Aslan could actually have been Anakin in the long run. So go figure. Who knew?
I mean,
so
maybe so, but I mean, we got references to, we've had references to very Wheel of Time references. We've even had some sort of Dune-esque references, but not as strong as the others.
Yeah.
I do not remember an SNL skit about warlords, but sounds fun, depending on what season it was from.
That's also true.
Let's see. Any other moments that jumped out at y'all, or things you? I mean, Ro, I'm really curious to hear. I don't want to do the whole show though, because I know this is stuff we all got to talk about again. But like, just if you were to pull one element that you felt was a loose thread from this, something that was just left hanging with no resolution.
Well, I want to say that it's not the fact that this episode has no resolution, because obviously it's a cliffhanger, and again, I was expecting a cliffhanger for sure. I just didn't like the fact that everything was paced in a way that it just bottled up the tail end of the narrative, where now everybody's off the planet except the two people that were left. It just, everything was so neat, and I don't know, it was, to me, it was kind of like the weakest part of the story, because I expected something more to happen once Thrawn reached the known galaxy, and I expected the cliffhanger to be something with more impact in that scenario, and they just went to Dathomir and unloaded their cargo, and that was it. I expected the Republic to meet, Thrawn and his ship in almost a, battle stance, and then cut to black.
See, I basically what I pitched last Saturday happened. And that Thrawn is pretty weak at this point. Like, Thrawn's Star Destroyer is really not battle ready. He has almost no troops left. In fact, he sacrificed a huge portion of what he had left just to get off the planet. They needed time for Thrawn to beat everybody else back. Thrawn needs time to go back and gather his forces. And I mean, I don't think Thrawn stands a chance if the New Republic fleet is staring him down when he emerges from hyperspace. So I guess that didn't bother me, because I felt like I got what I thought was going to happen. Because I predicted that. I thought that Sabine and Ahsoka and Ezra would have a more clear-cut direction home than we were left off with. I mean, Ezra made it home, but and I love that little nod, because Ezra loves nothing more in Rebels than putting on the stormtrooper armor.
Right.
And
and that the other thing that DJ and I were talking about in the Discord is that they didn't explain how he commandeered a shuttle and escaped the Star Destroyer, and the A-Wings escorted him back to the mothership, and there was just like a lot that was glossed over during that last sequence that again, just seemed like animation writing, and not full live action Star Wars writing. I don't know.
And I'll be curious to see down the road if there were things that were cut towards the end. I kind of have a feeling that some Balin stuff might have been cut. Because now I think they are kind of left with trying to solve, if we do a season 2, what are we doing about this character?
Mm-hmm. Because now, I mean, they set it up for him to have a very pivotal role in what's coming next.
Right.
So it's, obviously it's unfortunate that the actor has passed away.
What do y'all think? He's standing on the hand of the father, who's pointing at some sort of beacon in the distance, some sort of light on top of a mountain. Any thoughts?
Another Mount Tantus?
I would have to.
I think. I don't think any of that stuff. I think Filoni is I think he's going to be writing something, completely new in the vein of his lore, his world between world, father, son, daughter lore. I don't think Mount Tantus is going to be part of any of this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yes, Jedi Chicago. I agree. Yes, that last one. Although they had two really good ones, Jedi of Chicago, about the shuttle. That was probably what Ezra used, and then the last part they had said, and notice that daughter's head was chopped off in that scene. Yes, I think obviously it's all connected. It's all going to be together at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely set up for something else, whether it be show or movie. I'll take either or for 500, please. So.
Yeah. So I'm wondering. I'm if I had to guess, I would say it's probably the font of power, which is the other side. Like Yoda finds the wellspring of life in the Clone Wars when he's kind of on his solo adventure, learning about the Force and basically how to become a Force ghost. That's where he meets the priestesses of the wellspring. The other side of the wellspring was the font of power, which in canon they're in the same or in the old canon, in the expanded universe, they're in the same location, but maybe in this version they're not. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what they find.
We'll see what the reaction is next tomorrow morning when everybody else is caught up. I wish they would have shown the beheading of the Dark Trooper full-fledged and not behind a pillar. But
maybe they just thought that would be too much.
Disney. But that's Disney for you.
What was that?
When Ezra beheads the Dark Trooper. The camera does this nice little move, and there's a pillar there, and then a head plops up.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm just kind of graphic that way, I guess.
Yeah, I think at that point it's probably about walking the line on your rating.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know if I understand the question, Spencer.
Oh, back in Rebels, what happened at the end where the father and the son were in?
Well, basically they're all dead. Like the ones all die.
Except for the daughter supposedly is interpreted of being in Ahsoka somehow.
Yeah. Right? But we've never been told what that means. So it's her life force was used to keep Ahsoka alive, but does that make Ahsoka the new daughter? And maybe that's
that's a good thought.
Yeah, well, I mean that's something we've been pitching for a long time. That Anakin, in fact, I tried to get Marisha to paint it because for some reason I lost the ability to draw sometime after college.
Keep it up.
But I wanted a painting of Anakin as the father, Ahsoka as the daughter, and Maul as the son. But I don't know. I mean, now we may be doing some variation of that, and I don't know.
Yes, more.
The last two comments, Amanda, yes, that could be, and the Jedi of Chicago also, yes.
Yes, more. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that gives even those last two comments just make me excited. Like, give me more. That's what I want.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I want more.
All right. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap up on our? Anything you got? You've been holding back, Nicole, because we've kind of talked over you all night.
Mine for Sunday.
Feel kind of bad about it. Me and Ro have been going back and forth, and
it's all good. I'll save some of my stuff for Sunday. It's all good. This is fun. This was good. And again, I'm very excited still. So yeah.
Let's see. So we had some good stuff. If you've got any final thoughts in the chat, get them out there pretty quick as we start.
Amanda added one in there.
Let's see. Final scene with Anakin. Yeah, what'd y'all think about Anakin showing up at the end?
That was hard. See, this is who Ro wants. And I got it.
How many seasons do you think we will get of Ahsoka? 8. That was it. End of the season. We're done.
8
Probably.
seasons?
We'll either
I'm
get
sorry.
a
How many
we'll-
seasons?
We'll see.
6 seasons and a movie. Some of you, I hope someone in the chat got that reference.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe I don't. Yeah. And we might have to wait a long time for a second season of Ahsoka if it happens.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anything's going to come quick. The strike is still on with the actors.
But the good news is Dave Filoni could write if he chose to right now.
Dave Filoni can. I mean, he could be writing right now. We don't know. I think that I'm firmly in the camp of I believe we will get a season 2, but at the end of the day, money talks. So
I think we'll either get a TV show or we'll get either we'll get another season or we're going to get the film. One of the two. So,
money talks, and not to sound like a particular clown that I've grown fond of, but Disney is hemorrhaging money.
yeah, Disney's hemorrhaging money for a lot of reasons other than just what they're putting on TV, though. I mean, Disney's basically a small country, and it is definitely hemorrhaging money. But who isn't right now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of the other. I'm hemorrhaging money.
Right.
Just trying. I'm
hemorrhaging
money just trying to eat.
Or I think we're all hemorrhaging money as we speak. The other thing too is, and this is a minor point, but I still can't get used to the shooting in a warehouse look. Those scenes with Thrawn, and then the volume behind him is just so flat.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be hangups about shooting on a green screen or the volume. I mean,
yeah. Take a look at. That's why I was pleasantly surprised with The Creator. I've been tweeting about that show, about that movie all day, and the process onto which Gareth Edwards took upon himself. He used the Sony FX3, which you can go get at Best Buy if you wanted to. They shot on location in Thailand and then added sci-fi elements after the fact, which to me is incredible. And that's one of the biggest reasons they save so much money, which you wouldn't think, but it's amazing.
Yeah. It looks really cool. I'm interested in checking it out for sure.
You got to see it on the big screen.
I know. I'm going to try. Over under Mando season 4 releasing in 2027. I think if it takes that long, that they might as well just do something different. I mean, 3 years, 4 years between TV seasons is
crazy.
Really not sustainable. I mean, generally speaking, when we've had other types of other strikes in the past, and even COVID, like 2 years between a season of television, and you can lose your audience completely.
I mean, the UK does 2 years in between shows.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 years is okay, but I mean, we had 3 seasons, we had 3 years between Mando 2 and 3.
Yeah, and then what was Stranger Things had a really long hiatus too.
2 really long hiatuses,
yeah.
Too long. I mean, and it hurt. It hurt them. It didn't hurt Stranger Things as bad, mostly because Netflix. When people talk about the competition between the streaming services, like, Disney is still a little peon compared to Netflix. Netflix is a juggernaut. Like, I know Netflix is not doing as well as they used to, but that is by far the biggest streaming service. The second one's not close.
Mm-hmm. I think six years ago, they had a $6 billion production budget. I don't know what it is now, but I was like surprised. $6 billion for producing their own content? That's crazy.
Yeah, I think late 2024, if they're able to get back in the studios in the next few months, then maybe you see a season of something by the end of 2024. Probably I would say 2025. I think it's likely that you're going to get, if we get an Ahsoka season 2, that's where you're going to get it. And that's where you're going to get either Mando. I'm not convinced we're getting Mandalorian season 4. I think we'll get something maybe with Mando in it, but no longer called The Mandalorian. I think as it became an ensemble piece, unless we're going to go back to just Mando and Grogu out there doing their thing, because season 3 became such an ensemble piece, it really wasn't The Mandalorian anymore. It was kind of a whole different thing, and I always felt like they probably should have changed the name for Mando season 3, but maybe it will be Mando season 4. I'm not against it. I just think it's unlikely.
I mean, again, this is the cynical role speaking. I almost think that, when they thought of this concept, it was kind of a, adventure of the week, and then it started to morph into something else, and they changed their mind mid-season 2 to include other story elements. Obviously, seeing the reaction of fans and how that was going, I think they kind of adjusted their strategy, which, like you said, hurt it a little bit for it being called The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, Disney and the lack of planning. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't think the drought of shows is going to be that bad. I mean, I know the strike feels like it's been a really long time. It's been a little over 3 months. It's not like we lost a year and a half like we did with COVID.
I mean, there's still stuff coming out.
We still have Skeleton Crew coming. We still have
like Marvel stuff. Loki.
Well, we still have Acolyte. I mean, we got Loki on Thursday.
Right.
I mean, we'll be right back in here Thursday night doing this for Loki. So I don't think that I mean, obviously there's going to be a little bit of a drought of material, but I don't think it'll be that bad. And I think probably what you're going to see some of is, and I know this because the movies Marisha has been working on for the last few years. I don't think any of those movies have released. These studios have been hoarding completed content. And I think this was why. So I think that you will start seeing the studios swooping in and buying up those independent projects that are out there. Some of them will be interesting and some of them will be absolutely terrible, but it'll be content.
Right.
But I don't think the lull is going to be that bad. That, and we have Andor season 2, and I don't know how far into filming that they were, or had they already done it?
They were done.
They were done.
I think they were at the beginning of, I think at the end of July, middle of August, they were done shooting.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, we've got. I think actually it was pushed. Wasn't it supposed to come out already? Originally.
I don't think so. Not sure.
Not sure. Yeah.
Oh well. So yeah, if anybody has any other thoughts, we will be back tomorrow night at 7:00 to talk full review. Marisha will be here. I got another guest, a first-time guest. It'll be his first time on the YouTube, so this should be interesting.
Very nice.
So we'll be back tomorrow night. I know you guys both have reviews coming out. If y'all can tell everybody where to find you and what all you got coming up. Nicole, I'll let you start.
All right. Well, on Sunday night, I will be, I'm part of Used and Abused, and we will be reviewing the Sunday Ahsoka. I'm excited because we will actually be having Megan from an autistic point of view. She'll be on our show, as well as Marisha hopefully Marisha from Science Fictionary. So I'm very excited to be reviewing Ahsoka. Special note, y'all. This is special for us. Kim has not said anything to me about Ahsoka other than I'm really liking this, and that's about it. She's been refusing to tell me anything. She's been saving everything inside her and making notes for Sunday. So I'm really excited to see what happens. And during also be ramping up some things for the Red 5 rooting. So follow it because I know I've got to put out some content there in regards to announcements of polls and such. But I'm excited because that's what I'll be doing while Use and Abuse takes a small break while Kim gets her, she's got some work stuff. It is what it is. So
and it'll force me to read.
So you got to get it out there though, so I can get whatever we're reading on my reading list.
I think I have an idea already. I've just been kind of decisive, but I keep getting the same thing keeps getting brought up to me, and I've kind of put it out there for feelers. So we'll see.
I do like 80% of my reading in the fall and winter months. And so my list is getting long, so I gotta get whatever we're reading on the list.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Ro, what you got coming up?
Saturday, Scarif Live
Woo!
with I don't know who's coming. I don't know what we're talking about. We'll be talking about Ahsoka, this final episode. Yeah, 7:00 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Somehow the scuttlebutt has returned, but yeah, I'm kind of excited to have Brad back. We're going to be doing some new audio episodes. We've got a couple of great topics. So somehow Brad has returned. Also, besides
Is he going to be
Palpatine,
back this Saturday?
no.
Okay, I will be late because I'm working that day.
He's got apparently he's got a family and kids that he needs to be with. So whatever.
Makes sense.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for tonight. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow night at
6. What time?
we will be back at 7 Central. That's 7 Row time. We're still promoting hashtag One World, One Time Zone.
Yes.
It's time, people.
It's time. It's time.
We just promote it as row time at this point. I need to put that out more, not just Central Time. It's row time.
And we've got a big week of audio episodes coming. I've got 3 episodes of the science fiction area that will release stretched out from probably tomorrow morning until the end of the weekend. So
very nice.
3 episodes of that coming up. But that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you to everybody that joined us in the chat. Thank you for participating. Lots of great comments over there. So everybody have a good night. And until next time, may the force be with you.
This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/Red5.